Okay, I am on page 19, doing our workbook work along. And today, as you hopefully know from writing down on the board, we're looking at dividing decimals. We're on page 19. We're going to do numbers 1 through 2. Then I'm also going to do on page 21 numbers 1 through 2 because it's really two different kinds of problems. I do want to draw your attention to the top piece here. There's different examples. They're pretty good. I'm not going to spend the time on the video to go over them. But also up here at the top, if you look at this, it tells you in a few sentences what you need to do to divide decimals. It doesn't give you every single possibility there, and I think examples work better, but it does give you at least an idea. So let's take a look at number 1. So I want you to think to yourself, which number do you think should go where? Okay. Hopefully, you are saying that our first number is going to be our dividend, and then our second number is going to be our divisor. It'll be left out in the rain. It's not because this number is bigger, even though it is greater. It's just because that number comes first. The first number here, that's how much we have, and the second number over here, that's how many ways we want to split it up. So here we have 9 2/10, and we want to split it 4 ways. If I don't have a decimal in my divisor, I'm actually going to pretend that there's no decimal here for now. I'm going to pretend that's a 92, and I'm just going to divide the normal way. 4 fits into 9 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract 8. I have 1 left. I'm going to bring down my 2. 4 goes into 2 3 times. I have no remainder. If I had a remainder, what would I do? If you said we would add a 0 here and bring it down, you're right. Remember, there's no R's for remainder. There are no R's for remainder in 6th grade. And our decimal pops straight up, like that. So we should have 2 3/10. Okay, now what I would like you to do is try number 2. Number 2 starts off like this. So pause the video and then go ahead and try to set that up and solve that problem, and then restart the video when you're done so you can see if you got the correct answer. Okay, hopefully you're back and you tried the problem. If you got stuck on something or if you're still confused after I'm finished with the video, please make sure I know in class so that I can look at what you did and try to help you out. Alright, so our dividend, our divisor, dividend, divisor, it gets kind of flipped there, if you notice that. We're going to pretend there's no decimal there. 5 goes into 4. It doesn't. 5 goes into 45 though. 9 times, it's going to fit exactly, so again, you don't have a remainder, although of course you know you would annex a 0 if you did have a remainder. Now, 5 doesn't fit into 4 5/10 9 times, because that would be 45, which is too much. We need to bump our decimal up there, and our answer to this one is 9/10. And I could check my answer. I could take 9/10, and I could multiply it by 5, and if I get 4.5, my dividend there, 4 5/10 I should say, then I'll know that I'm right. So I can check myself. I know that 5 times 9 is 45. 5 times 0 plus 4 is 4. I have one number behind and no numbers behind the decimal, so I'll need 1 here, which means my decimal goes here, and I know that our answer is correct. So if you ever want a way to check yourself, you can check that way. Okay, we're going to flip to page 21, and you'll see there's more examples. You might notice right away what's different with these ones is that both of the numbers are decimal numbers. So now we're on page 21, and we're on number 1 again, although it's a different number 1. And I want you to go ahead and try your best on this problem and then come back to it. Okay, hopefully you tried the problem again. I know that 9 and 8/10 is larger, but that's not the reason it goes in the house. And I really don't like that they didn't set one of these up where the smaller number went into the house, but it can happen. I know we did a really good job, some of us on Monday, talking about how we can change this problem. Remember that we can do a trick to make an easier problem. If I multiply by 10 on a decimal number, it's going to move my decimal point over to the right 1 time. Multiplying by 100 moves 2 times, 1,000 3 times. Kind of makes a neat pattern there with the zeros and the number of times it's going to move over. And dividing would actually move it the other way to the left to make a smaller number. So we end up with a different problem here. Now 14 is not a number that we maybe know how to skip count by. So I might think of something close to 14 that's easy for me to skip count by and try to get an estimate of how many times it's going to go into 98. So I might think, okay, 15 is going to be easier to figure out, and this is kind of close to 100. 15 will fit into 106 times because 5 times 6 is 30, and 10 times 6 is 60. 60 plus 30 is 90. So I'm going to try and see what will happen if we do 14 times 6. I think it might fit that many times. Let's see. 6, 2, 24, 6, 24. Well, it could be more than that. So this is 6 times. Let me see. I think I can add another 14 here. That'll make 8. So this is actually going to fit 7 times. 7 times 14 is going to be 98. And that's what I would do if I was stuck on a problem and I couldn't think of how many times it would fit in because it's not a normal kind of number that would skip count by. Notice I don't have a decimal here. If I wanted a decimal, my decimal is now moved all the way behind the 98, so it's here. So I could put 7 decimal, but that's just the same as 7 whole. So there's no point in doing that if we don't need to in this case. Alright, so another one. We have 2 decimal numbers. This one's a little different because it's going to actually keep the decimal. So I want you to go ahead and pause it and try the trick out and try to divide it. It's going to be a little bit of a tricky number. You might need to just make a list of 21s down the side to see how many times it will fit. But go ahead and try the problem and then come back to me. Okay, hopefully you're back from trying the problem. I do want you to try it. Even if it looks hard, you should try the problem so that way you can see where you're getting stuck, and that way when you're watching this video you're not just listening to me but you're trying to pay attention to a specific spot where you got mixed up. So here I'm going to do times 10 again because we want to move the decimal and the divisor over to make a whole number, and we have to do something matching here. I can't move this one 2 times when I move that one 1 time. I can't cheat and do that. So this is going to become 21. It's going to be 44 and 1/10. So notice I still have a decimal, so I'll end up with a decimal in my answer. But just like we did in the first 2 problems above, I'm going to pretend there's no decimal point right here when I'm solving it, and then at the end I'll bring it back up. So this is close to 20, and that's close to 40. 20 fits into 42 times, so I'm going to try 2 times 21. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4. Bring down my next number. Well, 21 fits into 21 1 time, that's easy. That worked out pretty simple there. Bring my decimal up, and we should have 2 and 1/10. Got a little crowded there, didn't I? And I really should finish the subtraction to show there's no remainder there. But again, if there was a remainder, I would annex a 0 down here, and I would bring it down. Okay, at the bottom, I would really like you to write any questions you have. If you're confused about something, you want to write that down right now while you're thinking about it, and let me know in class next time, because we will be taking our test. So you'll want to ask those questions really quick before you turn in your homework, so that way you don't have any confusion if you need to do some division on the test. Thank you for watching.